Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcast Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. Chris, you have power. You have power. Those monkeys on that treadmill are going.
There needs to be so there's been a running theme, you guys obviously know. I'm trying to get the WWE back into reining things in a little bit. And there's something else we need. All right. You tell me, Jimmy, how rich is the WWE? Like, how much is this whole behemoth worth? Like a couple billion, 1 billion? What is it? It's a lot of
I believe
money.
they were sold for like $6. So let's just say like $5 billion.
All right. How about we hire some security that doesn't pass out with strobe lights? Can we do that? Can we hire some guys that, don't just pass out when the lights go out? I think the WWE needs to step up their game. Protect Michael Cole and Corey Graves and Pat McAfee when he comes back. Because these security guards are worthless.
Wow. Rod, did you think Chris was going to start off with worthless security guards as an old man take today?
To be honest with you, Jimmy, I'm not surprised because what Chris is doing here is deflection. He's trying to bring up another aspect of this story to talk about so that we don't focus on the fact that Chris has extensive videotape work from his time in the San Fernando Valley back in the early 80s. So I believe he has actually been consulted by the WWE these past couple of weeks on Raw to help them sort out the videotape footage in the truck. So Chris, is it comfortable enough for you to come forward and tell everybody you've been helping the WWE with these video cassettes, or did I just put the cat out of the bag?
I mean, there's not a lot of people out there that still have VHS players, right?
There really isn't. There's not. And that's a whole topic that we need to discuss. But first of all, I will tell you that Paul Heyman should go back into the WWE Hall of Fame just for his performance on SmackDown. The man didn't sleep all day, all night. He looked ragged. And the fact that he actually said, "Solo, I love you, but you are not my tribal chief," was amazing. It had to be done. And Rod, I loved every second of it. That good, huh? You're going to unmute yourself? Then
There's a reason the man's in the WWE Hall of Fame, Jimmy. All right. He knows what good television makes. I was unaware that he was apparently under the weather. I did notice he looked a bit ragged, though. And
no, he literally didn't sleep to look like that.
Yeah.
Like that's living the gimmick.
Well, then that's when kudos, chef's kiss to Mr. Heyman. But when I saw him looking like that, I was like, oh, this is not a guy who's long for television here for the next couple of weeks. So we moved him on. And now the only question, Jimmy, is Mr. Heyman going to sit back in the rafters until one Roman Reigns shows up? Or are we maybe going to see a Paul Heyman CM Punk reunion because it might be a little further off when Roman actually returns? And I'd imagine they're going to look for Paul Heyman to be back on TV sooner than Roman.
I think it's Roman. I do. I think that you have to do Roman now. The perfection that the Roman Reigns return pop is going to be, Chris, I can't wait for it. It's going to be terrific, bud.
It's going to blow Chris's mind because he's not going to want to see any part of it.
I mean, we've heard from Solo, the tribal chief, that Roman's not coming back.
Wow.
I think this opens up the door exclusively for Paul Heyman to create and run the union for the referees of WWE.
Okay. Yeah, you're going back to the union thing. Yeah, well, he does have an opening. He's not doing anything on SmackDown anymore. I think that Heyman needs to come back. See, I don't know how that's going to be done, though, Rod. Do you bring him back and then you introduce Roman Reigns? Or I think Roman Reigns has to be surprised.
Well, yeah, no, Roman Reigns absolutely has to be a surprise. So what you'll get is Heyman will come back. And, I mean, there's nobody better with the artful dodge than Paul Heyman. So he'll come back and he'll hint at something, you know what I mean? And everybody will try to press him if it's Roman Reigns or not. And I believe at this point, we might be getting ahead of our skis to say that Roman Reigns is coming back for SummerSlam. I really do. We clearly are in an era where the WWE likes portraying Jake Paul as their poster boy, Logan Paul, as their poster boy at times. He's from Cleveland. We're clearly brewing up a big old feud with him and maybe a couple of other people. So I mean, I'm not saying Logan Paul is going to be a main eventer, but clearly Cody Rhodes or Damian Priest might still have a belt by that point. So I like you, love the idea of Roman coming back and getting pops because it's what I told people they should always do: appreciate the man and not just hate him because of the storyline. But I'm worried that SummerSlam's too soon.
I don't think it is, man. I think SummerSlam is. I think SummerSlam is a really good. I think the Raw after SummerSlam also might be a good opportunity for us to get in there.
Well, then I would be
Um,
correct if it's the Raw after SummerSlam, wouldn't I, Jim?
SummerSlam would be too soon. Correct. What might be too soon for Chris here? Chris, I got a question for you, man. Are you all about heel Halliburton? What's going on here?
You know I'm a fan, Jimmy, right?
Of heels?
I knew
Yeah,
you were
like
going
Drew
to come to me
McIntyre.
this because you know I'm a fan. I love the Pacers. I hate Logan Paul. All right. In the ring, 100% behind Jalen Brunson. All right.
Wow. Wow.
Jalen and LA Knight, 100% in the ring. You know, Halliburton has to put the jersey back on before I get back in his corner again.
Okay, so Halliburton sans jersey is you're not into him, and you're all about Jalen Brunson. The second they put that jersey on, you're off. Rod, how cool was it that Brunson had to put on Instagram, "Hey, my wrist is fine. Calm down, everybody."
I definitely saw that, and I definitely was on the edge of my seat their entire interaction, being like, are we about to get some sort of a throwdown? Are these guys going to fake punch each other? Are they going to, excuse me, try to
Whoa.
square off? Or are we going to see a chair shot? And I was like, no, these guys aren't well versed enough to know how to pull a chair shot. So that's definitely not happening.
Jalen Brunson wasn't well versed enough not to throw the chair to the opposing team.
Yeah, that
guys
too.
in there. LA Knight's
That
like, excuse
too.
me, time out, real quick. Let me go get the chair. I thought that was really, really nicely done.
It was a good way to get out of that match because I did think to myself, how are we going to end this match? So it was a good way to get out of that match.
It was. And LA Knight, listen, folks, I think we might have an LA Knight. Yep, bam, right there. Yeah. He's starting to come up again. I'm pretty excited about that, Chris. How about you?
Of course, like we've been waiting for it seems like a year and a half, right? And
Yeah.
now it looks like he is as close as ever to getting an actual belt around his waist. And what better person to take that belt from than Logan Paul?
You hate Logan Paul.
With a passion, Jim, with a passion.
It's good in the ring, but really haven't seen too much out of there. Let's go back real quick to the bloodline here. Rod, is Solo doing a good job as the new head of the table, tribal chief?
He is. If I'm going to try to look at it objectively, he holds the screen well enough. He's delivering the lines well enough. He seems important enough. He kind of gets the pops from the crowd in a negative way, which the Tongans and Jacob Fatu just don't have enough built up with the audience right now to be able to be that. So as much as I maybe don't love the new bloodline because they have far less charisma than the old bloodline, I think Solo's pulling it off.
Yeah, I do too. I'm interested to see who they go with in Money in the Bank. I think it'll be the Tonga Violons and Solo against Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton.
Well, it'll be all four of them. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, and Fatu or he'll do some really cool things off the top rope, and he'll do his moves. But I don't know. It would be kind of neat to see him debut at Money in the Bank too. I think just kind of a random thought there. Chris, you buying the Wyatt 6? Are you buying it or not?
Right now, yes. All right. It is just dark enough and strange enough right now to keep me going. I do want more in ring or at least in arena work, maybe.
Okay.
I do like this angle with Chad Gable. I like him being scared out of his mind. I think that plays real well. So right now, yes. I don't know for how long, but right now I'm all about it.
Sure, Rod. We touched on this a little bit last week, and I want to touch on it again. So we have the Wyatt 6 come in. We have Bo Dallas, who, spoiler alert, is Uncle Howdy. Who kind of for those of them for those of you in the back, they figured that out on Raw today that's what it is. All of this group is coming back. They really want revenge. but they're going after Chad Gable. I think that's the one question I have about it still, Rod. Rod hates it because he is.
No, what I did there is the listeners are going to be glad that I was on mute there because that was a little bit of hard Mountain Dew coming back out in the way. Nobody wants to hear it. But here's my thing, Jim. Okay. You're right that we are told that the Wyatt Six are supposed to be a group that came together because they were cast aside. They were not given good opportunities. They want revenge for all the people that scorned them. But we also had the little drop in there by Bo Dallas, who is quite charismatic on the microphone. I mean, again, we're going to have to worry about how much is he just doing an impression of Bray Wyatt and how much is he a man of himself, but it's charismatic on screen. And he dropped the line about how certain people have not treated their family the way family is supposed to be treated, right? So we get the reason why Gable is
is now. I missed that part. Okay,
why Gable's being picked out from here. But here's the problem, Jim, and it's what I brought up last week. I love Chad Gable. There's much audio evidence of me singing the praises of Chad Gable on this very podcast. But I said, don't give me all this production value with the Wyatt Six. Don't spend all this money blowing it out in costumes and lights and smoke and and figuring out ways to convert VHS back into digital. Don't waste all this money if all you're going to do is have them be mid-carders. And right now, Jimmy, that's where we're at if they're going to fight with Chad Gable. But I will say this. I like storylines for helping to birth people. And if Chad Gable gets split from Otis and Tozawa and Maxine, that gives them something to do. And it looks as if it might give the Creed brothers something to do to jump up and be on Gable's side. And God knows we could use something for the Creed brothers to do because those dudes can get after it.
They can. And it's weird. That's a couple of people they brought up and really haven't done much with. I really didn't think they were going to go back to the Bo Dallas interview. It's going to be interesting to see then what happens next week, what they're going to do with that. Yeah, I think it's time to see some action, Chris.
Let me ask another question related to that, Jim. So if we're going to have Bo Dallas tell us, right, in his interviews that these are people who the WWE pushed aside, why does Michael Cole insist with acting like he doesn't know that's Nikki Cross? What's the point there? If we're supposed to ultimately be told these are all people we know who they are and they're in this group because they want redemption, why is Michael Cole acting as if he doesn't know that's Nikki Cross?
That's kind of why I wanted them to do these type of interviews with all of them and go back and forth. So yeah, I'm not sure why they want to do that. I really don't.
I mean, because it's clear they're trying to make her look like the ring girl, but Michael Gold just calling her that just seems weird to me. I mean, because we all understand that this is a woman who used to run out in bright purple and yellow tights with the cape and a mask on, right? We all know that. But that's perfect reason for her to now want to do this, as Chris talked to, right? It's just weird enough and dark enough, which is not my forte. That's why I leave that to the man down there in Bloomington.
Yeah, Chris is weird and dark for sure.
So what I did is I just kind of chalked this 2-week thing up to Pat McAfee, who was written into the story not being able to be there. So I think we've seen a delay maybe in the story. So maybe we got a little bit more than we were going to.
That's interesting because there was definitely something going on with Pat McAfee, but when a loved one actually dies in real life, you got to kind of move that back a little bit for sure.
I do kind of like, though, again, sorry goes out to the McAfee family, but the hierarchy exists, right? Pat still managed to do his ESPN show, but he's like, no, the WWE, you guys got to be bumped aside so I can do this. But ESPN, they pay the majority of my bills, so I'm going to still show up and do that show.
Yeah, it could also been like a wake or something like that on Monday too. If you do the math on that, it could have been something. I don't know.
Yeah, weekday viewings.
Of course, you two fellas are not going to let any modicum of shade be thrown Pat McAfee's way. So I wasn't surprised.
Nothing at all. There, you will not be besmirched, Pat McAfee. I mean, where do you go? There's so much good stuff going on. Sheamus, Dragunov, and McIntyre had a banger if there was no commercials. Still had a banger nonetheless.
Jimmy, can we go there for just a second? Yeah. I don't often like to talk operations or television production. All right. I work in podcasting. I work in terrestrial radio. I don't know anything about TV. All right. But you cannot give me a match between Drew and Sheamus, who we know what those guys are capable of.
Yep.
And you can't add in the absolute dynamite that is Ilya Dragunov and then give us all of these commercials. And literally, you could see it. The referee says something to Sheamus, and Sheamus basically pressed fast forward on the end of that match. And after Dragunov survived a bunch of great moves from these heavy hitters, he gets thrown into the timekeeper's thing to be dead and never seen again. the end of that match was completely not served by being sped up.
Yeah, I agree. Like, man, start the show off with that or something, right, Chris?
Yeah, that's a match that deserves limited commercial breaks. All right, they gave as many commercial breaks as what you would see in a women's non-title tag match at the middle of Raw. All right, it was break after break. It really messed it up. However, Drew McIntyre, of course, gets his invitation to Money in the Bank coming up this Saturday, where he has
Yeah,
already proclaimed how that night is going to end. So everything else is right in the world as of right now.
You could have
it
convinced me
is.
any one of those three guys was going to win too, Jimmy. That's another reason why you just
Yeah,
hope that main event was not squashed like that. And listen, you talk about this all the time too, Jimmy. So I'm stealing your thunder here, but we don't need to constantly remind the audience of what they've already seen. Okay. If somebody's tuning in this Monday, they probably tuned in to see SmackDown because they know Money in the Bank is on Saturday. You don't have to spend 6 minutes showing them everything that went down on Friday night because that's 6 minutes you could have desperately used for the main event.
it is true. I mean, that is 100% why they do it, and I don't know why. Um, Also, I don't know why Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio just don't wrestle all the time. Although Rey almost killed Dominic, which
He
is
did.
hilarious. He hit him with the move, and he's like, "Oh God, son, are you okay?" But Chris, we haven't chatted. Dom and Liv, white hot, white hot.
You gotta love every minute of this, right? Because
And Finn Balor.
it's not. I was gonna say it's not just Liv and Dom. It's Liv and Finn. It's Liv and our truth. All right, it is all of the above. Like this Live Revenge tour has been way more interesting than I ever thought it could be.
She wants to take away everything from Rhea Ripley, who, by the way, Damian Priest asked Dom if Rhea was okay. Yeah, sure. And he's like, nah, I talked to her. She's not happy. So nice little nugget there for us, waiting for Rhea to come back.
Yeah, we are definitely waiting for Rhea to come back. Jimmy, do you care to launch a prediction to our faithful listeners as to when we may see one Rhea Ripley?
I can't remember her injury. Because you want Rhea Ripley to come back before Roman Reigns.
I would
Because
think so.
Rhea's going to get a huge ovation for that. But can she come back? I mean, I think we'll get Rhea or Roman at SummerSlam. So you know what? I think you may be right. We're gonna get Rhea at SummerSlam. I think we'll get Rhea at SummerSlam.
Now, here's the
Chris, what do you
question that
think?
I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not what I thought about this for a while, and I frankly this is me, right? But like,
Yeah.
what are we now thinking about is going to happen to Dom when Rhea comes back, right? Not only from Rhea, but clearly Liv doesn't actually want Dominic Mysterio, right? Like it's becoming more and more obvious that Liv is just trying to take all the things Rhea had. And so the minute that Dom agrees to maybe come over to Liv's side, scorn Rhea, whatever, what do we think Liv Morgan's going to do to him? Is she going to string him on for a little while, or is she immediately going to be like, you idiot, and like hit him with oblivion?
But then what do you do? How do you get see the thing to get Dom more heat is for him to turn on Rhea. Like
Yeah,
to
he
actually
becomes
go with Liv.
No, he's definitely
yeah,
turning on Rhea. Chris, what I'm asking is, what do you think Liv's going to do when Dom turns on Rhea?
use him as a little puppy. Probably lead him around on a leash and not let him go. Like I could see Dom out there being led to the ring on a leash by
I
Liv
like that.
Morgan.
I like that. That's a really good idea, actually. That gives Liv a lot of extra heat, right? Because then, you know, what I mean, Dom gets so much reactions in the opposite way. And then if Liv is basically carrying him around, kind of like the Gimp in Pulp Fiction, that would probably work pretty well for her.
You said Liv do that or Rhea do that? Because I could see Rhea doing that actually.
That's now that you say that too, right? Like she could just put Dom on
Da,
punishment.
da, Dom begs for forgiveness, and Rhea's like, "All right, here you go. Here's my chain. I'm not going to let you go anywhere else." That's dirty, dude. That's like a USA Network first week. You know what I mean? Where they're not going to censor anything.
Which shout out to the USA people who were hitting the holy shit bleeps incredibly, wonderfully well compared to what Fox had to do on Friday, where we were just dropping out for 30 straight seconds.
Oh, that was so bad. I don't understand. It's so ridiculous.
Well,
Like,
Chris, how did you feel about that, by the way? Because the majority of reason we had to dump out a Friday night SmackDown coverage in Madison Square Garden is because those fans were shouting down your favorite basketball team.
Well, I expect nothing less from New York fans who have continuously failed to beat us in the playoffs.
But Jimmy, I'm right? Like that was the majority of time that they went out is when every time they showed Halliburton, the crowd
so
ended
funny.
the F Pacer chant.
It's so great. And then Chris, of course, your favorite wrestler NBA player is Jalen Brunson, right?
Yes. Jalen
Okay.
Brunson, by far. Like him and LA Knight can do no wrong.
Let's get the Money in the Bank.
You know why
We have
Jalen Brunson's
yeah.
perfect for LA Knight, Jimmy? Before we move on, because Jalen Brunson's like 6 feet tall, so it doesn't make LA Knight look like he's a short dude. That's why
And
Jalen
it
Brunson
looks
was perfect.
and LA Knight looks bigger and more of a star. You say that in jest, you're 100% correct.
That's why they put
that is
Halliburton
right.
with Logan Paul, because Logan Paul's taller than LA
Wembanyama
Knight.
ain't in there with
No.
LA Knight.
No.
I mean,
Although
How
Tyrese
big's
Halliburton.
Dragunov? That's actually Jimmy. We already talked about this match, and I forgot to bring this up. How big's Dragunov?
yeah.
He's like 5'10", right?
Yeah, he's
like,
nothing.
Like
Yeah.
218, but then he's in
Yeah.
the ring with two guys who are like 6'5", like 280 pounders.
And
Dragunov
you
is
believe-
absolutely insane.
You believe that he can hold himself up because he can. I mean, that's
What
the thing.
I realized I like, Jimmy, is I like dudes who act a little bit insane, act a little bit crazy, and wear fur. That's what I've decided I need in a professional wrestler. That's what I need. And Dragunov comes down to the ring with his fur coat on, and he's swinging his arms around, and he's absolutely insane, and I love every second of it.
Speaking of fur coats, we have a World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian Priest and the fur coat wearing, styling and profiling Seth Rollins.
The visionary, Jimmy, the revolutionary.
The revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's had a pretty good build up. We don't want the Judgment Day there. There's no way the Judgment Day is going to come down.
No
the
way.
Judgment Day is coming down. I think Priest retains the title here, Rod. Do you think your boy has a shot?
I do not think my boy has a shot. I do not. I think that we will actually see Carlito figure big into this, because if we think about it, right, Carlito is sort of the new R-Truth right now. The only modicum of enjoyment we get out of Judgment Day segments is, of course, Liv Morgan looking hot, but Carlito basically just saying, well, that was cool, right? Like, he just does it every week. And every time he does it, I'm still like, oh, Carlito, you're all right, man. You're okay with me, Carlito. I don't care that you shaved your mustache. You still look great.
Chris, who you got, bud?
I got Damian Priest winning this match. But a little side note, I have a roommate who's not into wrestling yet. I'm getting him kind of acclimated. He's
Come on,
been
Adam.
watching
Let's go,
it.
buddy. Get on board.
You know what he told me tonight?
What'd he say?
He is over this crowd chanting Seth Rollins' song every time he shows up. He's like, I'm about tired of hearing this go on and on.
This guy's name is Adam.
And that's why you're going to see Damian Priest put a stop to that at Money in the Bank. But I don't think Damian Priest is going to leave with that belt. So,
whoa, spoiler
Adam,
alert
I
coming
rescind
up.
my shout out. You are here
Yeah.
for banned in future appearances from the Morgan. Even if you become a new wrestling fan, until you change your stance on Seth Rollins, you will not be allowed on this network.
Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to throw a comment in, please do so. We will chat. What are your thoughts on the pay-per-view? What is this TMYK After Dark from Brett McNeil? Shout out old school.
Oh,
in
look
the ring with
out.
Jimmy and Brett. Y'all booking Skinamax angles over here. We are not doing the After Dark, but we will do TMYK After
Hey, Jimmy,
Dark.
we didn't talk
I don't know
about.
if we
We
can do
didn't
that
really,
on video.
Jimmy, we didn't really talk about the three-way tag team match, other than mentioning at the beginning. I don't think we actually did our predictions on that, did we?
Three-way tag team.
The
match.
6-man tag team match. Excuse me, Kevin, Orton.
No, that's next.
Cody.
That's next. Yeah.
We're
that's
doing
next.
predictions next. Okay.
Yeah. So we
I thought you were
we're doing
wrapping the show
predictions.
there. I'm sorry. Brett McNeil coming in got me all excited. Our
off
old
the top.
school original host here. I got all excited. You got me confused.
We've only done one prediction so far, and we all think Damian Priest is going to win. We have the 6-man tag, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes against the Bloodline. Chris King, who you got?
I think the Bloodline wins this, right? Otherwise, how do they stay relevant?
All right, Bloodline wins. Who gets pinned?
One of the Tonga two people.
Well, no, the Bloodline wins.
Okay,
They
so
get
the
wait.
Bloodline
pinned.
wins. They can't
I'm
get
sorry,
pinned.
it's KO. KO gets
Of course,
pinned.
it's KO.
Shut up, Chris.
KO.
Rod, who you got?
Listen, shout out to my guy KO, all right? Because basically we have a continuation now of like 3 straight weeks of KO on TV where he does something and I text Jimmy and I'm like, "Okay, listen, I know, but like is he really hurt?" And Jimmy's like, "I don't know." You know what I mean? So shout out to KO for being able to sell it every week because he did the jump off of the second level last week, senton bomb through a table, and then he's walking and favoring his shoulder back. And you could have convinced me that he was broken collarbone and we wouldn't see him for 6 weeks. But no, he's going to show up and get every finisher thrown against him and be the one who gets pinned in that match. So, KO, we love you.
I think the Bloodline wins as well. I think KO gets pinned. I also think this is the start of the Randy Orton,
Oh, yeah.
Cody Rhodes
It has to
feud
be.
to SummerSlam. Yeah.
It has to be, Jimmy. It has to be because here's the other thing. All right. If you're to be right that Rhea or Roman shows back up at SummerSlam, Cody better have some sort of a feud that people care a little bit about, or he's going to get even more overshadowed than he already is.
Yeah. You know what? I know you're not all about Cody right now, but
I'm not
he's
trying to put
getting,
Cody down. I'm just pointing
I
out
know.
facts, Jimmy.
I'm just saying people love him. He is the star. He is the number one guy in the company. Ratings are good. They aren't doing right now. They're kind of figuring out what this bloodline thing is. That's why it wouldn't actually surprise me to see
Is Brandy
Orton.
Rhodes? Wait a minute. Is Brandy Rhodes or Mama Rhodes right there behind you? Like, why in the world did you just feel like you needed to launch into like propping up Cody Rhodes right there?
Well,
Like, what's happening?
you know what? Damn it. I like Cody Rhodes. And let's just have a good guy champion that's good for a while.
See,
all
then
right?
this is what we need. Then the listeners want you to break bad on me and not do your normal Jimmy good guy thing and just come out and say, Rod, you're being a complete jerk off about Cody
Rod,
Rhodes.
you're being a
here. He's
complete jerk
badass."
about Cody Rhodes. I would love to see Randy Orton RKO Cody Rhodes and Solo get the pin on Cody Rhodes because that then sets up Solo and Randy Orton for Rhodes, which are two very good main events for him. But we'll
Love
see
it,
what
Chris.
happens.
Your
on that
thoughts,
one.
Chris. Your thoughts on what Jimmy just said.
Yeah, give me a crazy Orton. I've been wanting to see the Legend Killer. I've been told about this guy. I've only seen him since he's been back. I've never seen any of the other stuff. Like, give me that crazy, unpredictable RKO out of nowhere. Give it to me.
He needs to stop eating, all right? And the only reason I say that is because Randy himself is saying that. If you watch him when
Big
he's
shirt.
coming down to the ring
Big
wearing
shirt
his
Randy.
shirt, yeah, his fat shirt Randy, and he's saying, "Man, I need to stop eating," right? Because Randy never was a guy who rolled down to the ring in a t-shirt. So, Randy, I know you're advanced in your age, and I know we're coming up on the July 4th holiday, and I do not want to tell anybody not to partake in some partying as I'm drinking a hard Mountain Dew right now with this lovely Mountain Dew banner behind me. Mountain Dew, again, I don't know why you haven't gotten at this podcast, but Randy, trim it down a little bit, my man, and just maybe before the end of the summer, you could be WWE champ.
You could be. I think this match is going to lead off the show because of what's going to happen later on. We have the Money in the Bank men's match. LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Jey Uso, and of course, Chad Gable.
Jimmy,
Chris,
can I
how was
just start here real quick? No, let's start
Go
here.
ahead.
Let's start here.
Eat it.
What in the world would you do for our wrap up of Money in the Bank if somehow Andrade walked up the top of that ladder and grabbed the Money in the Bank briefcase?
Chris is predicting that.
No. If Andrade won money,
you can't even talk.
See, this is why I brought it up. He is
maybe
clearly
he
the
goes
sacrificial
after
lamb.
Does he go after Sami Zayn and
Yeah, he's one of those. Yeah, he goes after Sami Zayn in the Intercontinental Championship. Jey Uso is the most over guy in WWE, right? I mean, these entrances are amazing. People love everything he does. Why not have him win?
I also think it's important that we had Jey Uso literally verbalize, "I'm not trying to take the Fireflies," right? Like, I think that was kind
really
of important
funny.
for him
Hey,
to
it's not me.
actually. Yeah, now what are you talking about? Cockroaches? They can have all of them. Mosquitoes and fireflies. It's just me, Us, down since day one. But I don't have him winning, Jim. I really don't.
I don't have him winning either. LA Knight, I think, is going to go in a different direction. So I don't have him winning. I have Drew McIntyre winning. Man. I think he's going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. Chris.
Go ahead, Chris. You go.
Yeah, of course he is. Why would he not? He is the best guy in this match, second to LA Knight, but LA Knight has other more important issues at hand, namely one Logan Paul. So he is more focused on that than he's already got his title shot coming to him. He doesn't need that contract there. He was really just in that 3-way match to beat Logan Paul. He said it himself. So it's true.
Rod, I see one of two things happening with McIntyre today. I'm interested to see what you think.
All right, here's where I'm at on this. All right. It's great for all of us to say Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre furthers the story, and then CM Punk can come back and screw him once again, and that's great. Okay. But where I come down, Jimmy, and I've said this on this podcast repeatedly, all right. When you have heat, I firmly am in the camp of we don't have to double down. All right. Drew and
Okay.
CM Punk have plenty of heat going on right now. The bracelet, the beatdown in Chicago, CM Punk screwed him twice. There's plenty of heat going on in that. We don't need any heat there. So, what I say to myself is, where could we use some heat? What if Chad Gable wins this match and then the Wyatt Six that we've completely devoted so much time and money and effort to then has somebody to mess with that's important? Okay. And it pains me to say this, Jimmy, because we all know how much I love the guy, but Chad Gable with the Money in the Bank briefcase is a much bigger deal for the Wyatt Six to mess with than just Chad Gable.
That's not bad, Rod. I think we are forgetting one important person in this whole aspect, and that would be Gunther, because whoever comes out of Money in the Bank with that heavyweight championship belt, whoever it may be, is going to have to go up against Gunther at SummerSlam, and the people who aren't involved in that need to have a feud elsewhere. So I think that works out better for my guy Drew McIntyre.
That's a good point, though, Chris. You're right that Gunther's going to factor into this, right? Because the guy who's getting the briefcase is either A, going to cash it in to then mess with Gunther because Gunther's going to win, or B, Gunther's going to win at SummerSlam and then this guy's going to cash in later because we're trying to set up long-term storytelling there. So that's a good call by you there, Chris. You're getting better and better at this wrestling podcasting every day, my friend.
Because I see CM Punk screwing McIntyre over either going up for the belt or going to after Priest wins, McIntyre then comes and cashes in on Priest, and then CM Punk screws him over again just to keep digging and digging and digging. Or does McIntyre win that against Priest, and then SummerSlam is the payoff, but that's a quick payoff. So I don't know if I like that. I am going to pick McIntyre to win. The idea of Gable winning just to get Wyatt Six more involved and stuff is interesting, Rod. It is interesting. I don't know if is it right for
It's
Gable?
definitely
though?
not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. But you
It's a
know
nice
me,
thought.
every once in a while when I'm not really stone cold solid in my convictions, I like to go opposite of you two. So give me Chad Gable in this match just for a curveball.
All right, we have Lyra Valkyria.
This
We
match is
have
confounding.
Tiffany Stratton. We have Io Sky. We have Chelsea Green. Who else we have? Naomi and Zoe Stark. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Chelsea Green's winning this.
Wow.
Chelsea
Of all
Green.
the people on this podcast that would have predicted Chelsea Green, I wouldn't have guessed you, my friend. I would have guessed me.
This is the beginning of the renaissance of Chelsea Green. She is going to merge from her current character into. She's a good wrestler. She's good on the mic. She's got
She
good
is.
character development. Chelsea Green.
Rod, you're going to be floored because Chelsea Green was also my selection.
Whoa.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris.
You took my thunder
Whoa.
there, Jim.
That's on me.
Wow. All right. I'm going a complete another way. All right. I'm going with, yeah, that'd be great if she showed up because we've seen that before. Austin Theory was put into a Money in the Bank match before out of nowhere and then just all of a sudden won the ladder. So don't think that can't happen. And I love that you just brought that up, Jimmy. That's why you're the host of the wrestling podcast. But my thought is something different. Okay. Give me somebody who winning the Money in the Bank briefcase really causes trouble for lots of people. Waves are created over a couple of different spots with this person winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. And for me, that's the Glow. That's Naomi. There's a whole lot of different ways we can start to extract story out of Money in the Bank winner if it's Naomi. So I'm going to go with the Glow because frankly, I don't see any chance of Io Sky going back to back. I just don't. I don't think she has the resume where they're going to let her go back to back. There's not a lot of people in WWE history that have gone back to back in Money in the Bank. Io Sky ain't going to be one of them. As much as I love Chelsea Green, it ain't going to be her. It definitely ain't going to be Zoe Stark. It's probably not going to be Lyra Valkyria. So that leaves me with my girl Tiffy Time or Glow. And I went Glow.
That's so boring, though. It
I
really
like
is.
Naomi. I like
Yeah.
Naomi.
How
But
dare
I
you, Jimmy?
see
Call me
her
boring. I'm the entertaining one on this podcast. How dare you call me
Well,
boring?
pick an entertaining person
the
then.
the only thing I ever see them do with Naomi is the same thing they do with one of my favorite wrestlers, Natalia. They just essentially here is a solid veteran to work with somebody young, and maybe we give her the occasional win, but never enough to do anything.
But couldn't that
And
be the
never a
Damian
real
Priest
solid.
spot this year, though, Chris? Right? Like wouldn't Damian Priest almost fit that example of who won it last year? I mean, I know it's a different gender, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it.
I'm
I
just
don't
trying
like
to
it.
I'm trying to redeem myself after Jimmy just calling me boring, Chris. I'm just floored by this.
I thought for sure you were going to tell me it was Tiffy time, because I think that's probably
It
who
should
the
be, but
favorite
she's
is.
not there yet. Yeah.
I
I
got
don't
this
think
whole
she's
thing
there
with
yet.
Nia Jax, which is like still kind of an angle for her. You know what I mean? Like I love Tiffany Stratton, but like I don't know. I said glow and Jimmy said it was boring. Now I feel scarred.
Be careful what you wish for, Rod. Yeah, angry Jimmy's here. All right, finally, Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. We did not talk about this on Raw. Awesome segment. Loved every second of it. I think this is going to be a battle. I think this is going to be the match of the night. Oh,
Jimmy, how many times have you come on this podcast and said Sami Zayn's going to be involved in the match of the night?
yeah, because he usually is. I think Sami Zayn retains. Screw it. He's going to retain the Intercontinental Championship here, Rod.
No way. I was going to say, thank you, win to me. No way. I'm going the other way. Braun Breaker's winning this. We're creating a star in Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker's going to go on a Gunther-like run where he's going to have the belt for a while.
Chris?
Yeah, Braun Breaker. All right. I don't see you. I can't see any scenario where Sami Zayn beats Braun Breaker here. Sammy does not need a belt on him to do
Exactly.
anything.
He's hot. Jimmy's like the 4th or 5th most popular guy right now.
And I'm not
Oh, I
even a
agree.
big Sami Zayn fan right now. I'm definitely a bigger fan of Braun Breaker's character right now than I am Sami Zayn. Put that belt on Braun Breaker. I think it legitimizes that belt again.
You're boring, Jimmy. Do you see what Chris and I just said? You're boring.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Marinos Podcasting Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
For the win.
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. Jimmy, Rod, and Chris are here, and we have a ton to talk about in the NBA. This is one of the best weeks of the year, isn't it, Rod?
Love it. Love free agency. Love the fact that you can turn on ESPN, NBA TV, your NBA app, whatever, in the middle of the afternoon, and you can get news. You can be told that a guy like Luke Cornett has signed a 1-year deal with the Boston Celtics. I'm not sure what's more exciting in the world than that, Jimmy.
I don't know. Jalen Smith signing with the Bulls. Let's go. Chris King, are you excited about this podcast, first of all, and all the free agents that happened?
Yes, the Pacers landed the guy they were going after, James Wiseman, got him on a 2-year deal. Let's go.
Are you
Okay,
excited about a guy like James Wiseman,
Hey.
who's low effort with a hardcore coach like Rick Carlisle? Chris, are you excited about that?
Oh, I think there was sarcasm dripping from my voice. I think James Wiseman does not move that needle at all.
He's
But
an
the
upside play.
The Pacers didn't necessarily. I mean, I don't think that's a solid rotational player. Like they did the right thing in re-signing Obi Toppin. I thought he was a
Agreed.
guy they needed to focus on, and they got that done.
That's good money, right? And in the new era of the NBA and the way money goes out, 15 mil a year for your 6-man, that's good money. And Obi Toppin's a good 6-man.
So we're going to try something today. We're going to go best case, worst case scenario. And let's use this for as an example. The Pacers signed James Wiseman and Obi Toppin. What is the best case scenario, Chris, for your Pacers after those signings?
The best case scenario would be back
Best
to the
case.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. Rod, worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario for the Pacers would be we're expecting a whole lot of growth out of some young players that maybe don't have as high a ceiling as we want them to, and the Pacers level out a little bit and finish kind of exactly where they did last year.
I think the worst case scenario is that big injury happening and they just completely plummet and all of the love is taken out of Indianapolis. So hopefully that does not happen. One of the biggest, the biggest contract signed as a free agent here. Paul George signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. Chris King, what is the worst case scenario for this 4-year, $212 million contract?
That the injuries come back, right? I mean, Philly is going all in this year, bringing in the crafty vets that can play good minutes in the playoffs, and Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond. Like, they got Maxey, they got Embiid. Now you got Paul George. You need Paul George to be healthy. If he isn't healthy and Embiid isn't healthy, that's your worst case scenario because Philadelphia has another disappointing exit in the playoffs.
It could be. Hey, real quick, our buddy Brett McNeil is planning on dropping a bag on the Royal Rumble tickets.
Nice.
Our boy spends $300-400 on a pair of shoes. So
That's
just
Listen,
might
Brett
see him
McNeil, you have an
ringside.
open invite. You have an open invite, my friend, to join us back on the podcast you helped start if you are truly in attendance at the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis in 2025, my friend.
For sure. Rod, what's the best case scenario for these 76ers with this big signing?
So here's the thing with the 76ers, all right? I believe that you should be excited. You should be excited about Paul George because Philadelphia in the past has attempted to get the best free agent on the market and they have been passed up. All right. Now, we have to understand that the free agent market here is not the free agent market in years where LeBron or Kevin Durant or a few other guys were at the top of the list, but the 76ers got them the best free agent out there. The only question I have, Jimmy, is do we believe Paul George still has a little bit of defense in him? Okay. Because a lot of the players Chris just shouted out, I agree, are guys that will help the 76ers overall team chemistry, but not a lot of those guys were wing stoppers. And the team that just won the NBA championship and the best team in the East has Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yes, I think that George does have some defense left in him, but I also think the scenario I see is George standing in the middle of the court saying, "Oh, Embiid's out for 2 weeks again. What? Didn't I just come from this?" I really think the Sixers are going to kind of be middling in that 4, 5, 6 range, just as they.
Let me ask
always
you guys
have
this
been.
then. If we're on Paul George, do you guys think Paul George should have decided something different? Chris, do you think he should have decided something different?
No, I think he did what he kind of wanted to do. He wanted to get a 4-year deal with a team that can compete for a championship. I think the Clippers screwed this deal up. I think they outplayed themselves thinking they had some cards, but they didn't want to give him that 4th year. And I think that hurt him. I think the Clippers had it ready and they had it. Just give him that 4th year. You guys gave up so much to get him in the first place, right? All
Yeah,
those draft picks, all that
it's
stuff.
it's odd they picked Kawhi over George. I would have thought the other way. I think I might have given the 4 years to George and had Kawhi go.
Isn't it just as simple as though Kawhi decided to take the 3, right? Like, doesn't it kind of seem like the Clippers decided we're going to offer both of them 3 and Kawhi decided he'd take it and Paul didn't, right? Doesn't it kind of seem as this? But here's my thing. I think, and Chris, I love what you, or Jimmy, I love what you said about how Paul George is going to be standing around looking Embiid injured. I think Paul George should have taken the money from the Magic. I know that KCP took that deal before he did, but the Magic probably still could have worked out something for Paul George if he told him I wanted to come there. And that's the place I would have went. There's just,
I think the Magic would have been fun. I think it would have been a lot of fun.
You would have created a new team in the East, right? Instead of the fact that now we're just looking at Celtics, Knicks, Sixers, you'd have brought Orlando up there to be able to fight with those 3 teams, and then maybe Philly even would have been worse than them.
Paul George has been through that before with the Pacers. You think he wants to be the top dog on
who was Paolo Banchero when Paul George was on the Pacers, though, Chris, would be the question I would ask.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Donovan Mitchell extends with the Cavs, $150 million. I think the worst case scenario is tomorrow he says, "Hey, I want to be traded right now." That's easily the worst case scenario for the Cavaliers. But Rod,
no, Jimmy, the worst case scenario is Darius Garland, okay, who we all forget had his jaw broken last year, okay,
yes,
which made him a little bit nervous about going into the lane. He couldn't eat normally for a while, so he lost a bunch of weight. Fine. All right. And now we hear that Garland and Mitchell don't want to play together. So now you got Mitchell back, who's going to be in the way of the Darius Garland, I'm getting my retribution season, which me as a fantasy owner of Darius Garland is relying upon.
Chris, what's the best Best case scenario for the Cavs.
So Rod's worst case scenario is his fantasy team suffers. That's what I got,
Yeah.
right?
So not too bad.
It's about me, Chris. Come on, you've been on this podcast long enough to know
Let's
that.
go.
I mean,
Yep.
best case scenario for the Cavs is getting the 3 seed in the East, right? I mean, that's their best case scenario is that everyone stays healthy because they did have some injuries in the playoffs that didn't make it easier. But you're looking that you can probably get the 3 seed. I don't think you're going to catch Boston, and then you have Philly and Milwaukee right there. So
What about New York?
Yeah.
I mean, New York was what barely the 2 seed last year because other teams faltered. That's
I don't like that they got smaller, but Mikal Bridges is going to make them just as good, if not maybe a tad bit better. So I think you're short selling New York here a little bit. I think Cleveland is going to be lucky if they get a 5 seed.
listen, every team in the East at the end of the season, except for Boston, even Boston to an extent with Porzingis, were hurt. They had stars hurt.
Stop it. Stop
They
it.
did. I'm just
We're
saying
fine.
it's
We're
gonna
fine.
be
Chris,
tough.
we just signed a guy to the biggest contract in NBA history. All right. We're fine. We're absolutely fine. We just won the
Now,
championship.
in 3 years, when your starting lineup has a $200 million payroll, we'll have to see.
We're selling the team at that point. That's somebody
But it
else's
doesn't
problem.
matter. Doesn't matter. I know. I love it, and they want it.
But
So
really, they only got they have this core, all 5 of these guys for 2 years before anything really happens.
And Peyton Pritchard, and Sam Hauser, and Xavier Tillman, all right, and Luke Cornett. We got all the and Horford. We still got the bench. We got the whole team. We're bringing them back, Chris. Let's go. Let's run it back. All right. The same way that we were all excited for Bad Boys 2 when we knew that the whole cast was coming back after the first Bad Boys movie was so entertaining. This is what the Celtics are about to do.
He got so hot, Jim, when we were talking about the Cavaliers and the Knicks, and he goes off on the Celtics.
it's okay. We're not going to talk about the Celtics because they've won the championship. They're fine. Worst case scenario, Chris, for Klay Thompson signing with your Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, 15 points a game on 29% 3-point shooting.
It's
Okay.
even darker
I mean,
than that. Worst case scenario is what he did in the play-in game for Golden State, 0 for 10 from the 3-point line. That's the dark scenario for Dallas, is that they paid $50-some million for a guy and feel good about themselves getting him over to the Lakers, who might not actually be good anymore. I don't want to throw dirt on Klay Thompson, but the evidence we have over the last 2 years is not a guy who deserves the money Dallas is paying him.
So I think this is a terrific signing for the Mavs because this is Klay Thompson another year past that injury. This past year, he had to continue to get back to where he needed to be. Never going to be the defender that he was just because you can't do that on one leg. But I think this is going to be a little renaissance for Klay Thompson. I think he's going to be in the 20 points a game in there, and I think he's going to have a very good season. So
You got to
I
think
really
that
like
he should have better open looks with Dallas this year than with Golden State last year, right? Because you have 2 guys with Dallas that can drive and kick and creates more issues, and he should be able to get spacing a whole lot better. One thing Klay
Does
Thompson
Luka
always did
Doncic
well
or
was
Kyrie
move without the
Irving-
ball.
Does Luka or Kyrie just seem like 2 dudes who are ready to take far fewer shots to you, Chris?
Luka is for sure.
What?
No, I'm just joking.
And then you got Lively, who are already
I
trying to
mean-
feed. You got Gafford. You got PJ Washington. You're still trying to grow. Like, this is what I'm saying. I think we're all excited about Klay
You got
Thompson
2
because
guys
he's
that
a
are getting
name.
7+ assists a game. Both of these guys get almost double-digit assists a game.
Well, but
And
no,
they're
that's
used
the
to
worst
throwing. Well,
What?
Chris, what you're backing my point up. They're used to throwing them to guys who are still on that Dallas team. I think that we're excited about Klay Thompson because he's a name and he's not actually going to do much for Dallas.
That's the worst case scenario is we're excited about him because he's a name. Speaking of names, Chris Paul signs with San Antonio. Your best case scenario, Chris King, for the San Antonio Spurs and Chris Paul.
Best case scenario, they get another lottery pick and Victor improves overall as an NBA player.
Okay. Rod, worst case scenario.
They make the playoffs. That's the worst case scenario for the Spurs. I'm
Nice.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Listen, we all love that Chris Paul's coming in. They want Chris Paul to help Victor. They want Chris Paul to help Stephon Castle, their number 4 pick from this year. But the Spurs absolutely do not want to win next year. The worst thing that could happen to the Spurs next year is to do what Oklahoma City did the year Chris Paul joined them, where they thought they wouldn't make the playoffs, and then Chris Paul got them into the playoffs. But the ancillary benefit that can come from that is a guy like Stephon Castle and Victor Wembanyama can learn a lot from Chris Paul. So it's a best case, worst case, but the worst case scenario for the Spurs is if they make the playoffs because they don't want to. They want Cooper Flag.
All right. Not Gary Harris to the Magic, but this is my last one here that I have. Isaiah Hartenstein. Hartenstein signs with the Thunder. 3 years, $87 million. Best case scenario, Rod.
The best case scenario is that Isaiah Hartenstein does exactly what Oklahoma City wants him to do, which is play 25 minutes a game, rebound, provide a little bit of post defense, and give Chet a break. That's the best case scenario.
Chris. Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, there's no way for them to coexist on the floor. I mean, Hardenstein and Chet, and they drop an additional 10 games more than they lost last season, I think would be worst case scenario.
I think best case scenario is NBA championship. I think this is what they needed. I think worst case scenario
is Isaiah Hartenstein, is it as good as we think he is because he's still a white American?
That is the worst case scenario. Is it was just kind of a flash.
Let's just be honest here, Jimmy. Listen, I'll be the one to say this because you and Chris are afraid of this, okay? But the Oklahoma City Thunder, 2 additions this year were white Americans, okay? And let's just be honest about ourselves about the additions that NBA teams that win the championship, okay? They're not necessarily white Americans. That's not necessarily the pieces you add to your team that win you NBA championships. Now, I'm not doing a political take here. I am literally just talking about history. Okay, Jimmy? We saw Reed Shepherd be drafted number 3 in the draft this year. Okay. That was the first time since Kent Benson that a white American had been taken as number 1 in the draft. All right. Or, I mean, a white American was the first person from America taken in the draft. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I love Isaiah Hartenstein. I love Alex Caruso, but it's possible that these guys end up looking a little bit more like Gordon Hayward and Doug McDermott than they do actual guys who are serviceable to an NBA team.
To be honest, and to be fair, the bigger issue that came out of the draft this year was the fact that 3 of the top 6 picks were French. I have an issue with that. I think that's more of a sign that the AAU system that we have in America is failing these young kids.
You think playing 13 games over a 2-day span isn't a good thing for people?
No, absolutely. Because Chris is dead right, Jimmy. We got a guy like Alex Sarr, okay, who averaged 5 points in the Australian League, and somehow he was a top 3 NBA draft pick. And then we got guys who are playing in college or in the Development League or the G League Ignite who are putting up stats in American teams. I'm like, nah, give me this dude over here who averages less than 10 points a game. We're not entirely sure what he is, right? And it's Chris, you're so right about this. America is doing amateur athletics completely wrong. We're doing it completely wrong. And I don't mean on the college level where we've now started to give NIL to these guys because that's right. But I mean the AAU level, the softball level that Jimmy is dealing with his daughter Izzy. These kids play far too many games. And these kids play far too many games where you have to pay money to play the games. So you're essentially dealing with a certain level of the population and not another part of the population. And it's just, we're doing it wrong in America. We're not actually finding the kids who deserve to be coached up and have talent that may pop later. We're just doing it with the kids who can afford to pay for the coaching.
You're close, Rod. It's not the number of games that they're playing. It's the lack of practices that they have. That's the issue. In Europe, on these youth leagues and everything else over there, they have practices and games on the weekends. I don't care if they do 13 games over a 3 or 4 day span, but they are getting no type of practices in between. So they're not developing the skills that then they supposedly have to be taught when they get to the NBA.
I smell a Balls and Brew special coming up in the near future. But with that, you've been listening to NBA Fast Break on the More You Know Podcasting Network. And it's been the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA.
Hey, we are getting ever closer to the NBA season. Not NBA. NBA season's over. NFL is what I meant to say. So here soon, we will be having our guy, Josh Williams, all right, the handicapper, the man who makes the bets, the man who does the research, the man who comes on here and gives you things that may help your bank account. All right. We are getting closer and closer to football. We may talk a little bit of baseball. I don't know. We'll see how the mood strikes me, but we're definitely going to continue to chop up NBA offseason moves for at least a week or two more.
Goodbye, Internet.